What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a stream of Dion Dresigova's show. This is going to go up on the podcast later, so if you're listening on the podcast and you don't want to miss one of these streams when it goes up, I suggest you subscribe on YouTube or preferably Rumble so you don't miss out on these streams. As of a few days ago, I'm actually on Facebook now, and this stream is it's titled Tech for a reason. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about tech in this one. Some of it's just going to be like more of an overview. I can't really dive that deep into it, and because I've been incredibly busy, that's why I haven't been able to produce said tech videos, and some of those are just old now. So maybe you can let me know in the comments that you'd like to hear or see expanded views on certain of these tech things. But before I get to show you some of the tech that I have here with me, and before anything else, just to let you know that I do want to get back to these streams. Sometimes they're restreams, sometimes they are live streams. Again, because I've been very busy, it's been one of those where, yeah, I would love to be there. But what I can promise you is if I cannot be live streaming, I'm restreaming, but I do intend to participate in the chat. So if you're watching and you want to participate and you're asking questions about what I'm saying, I'll let you know that, hey, stay tuned, it's coming up, or I engage with you directly, and that's what I enjoy the most, to be able to engage with a lot of you. Before I started recording this, I actually did a live on my locals, and before that was live on Instagram. It is 11:17 p.m. on Saturday, the 28th of October, because I had a lot of things that I needed to get out of the way. So for those of you watching this tech stream, I'm assuming you've seen my channel stuff before. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm purposely putting it on the podcast, but this is the stuff that doesn't go on the podcast. These are just streams for the video platforms. And I might be prioritizing that coming this new year. So I just want to get some of that housekeeping out of the way. I'm going to do a channel update after this tech update. I want to do the tech stuff first because I'm long overdue for a lot of that, especially since it's the end of Techtober. And apparently it's not even over. There's still some more announcements coming out. Like, oh my goodness, how many more announcements? The difference is, compared to last year, I have more tech than I can shake a stick at, because there's more things that I ended up acquiring, more services that I'm using to help streamline what I do. That's made it in a way more streamlined for me to get some items done. But also a little overwhelming in that I can't do my thorough reviews of these things. Flossie Carter made it where it's like, you don't need to do all the flashy editing, the camera tricks, and the B-roll to get the stuff out there. But I also don't have the time to just fire up a camera or the setting most often because of what I do. So I'll put in my channel update. But let me show you some of the tech that I do have here on me. This was not planned, by the way. I just felt like, what, turn the camera on. I'm on a roll here. So might as well show you. This just arrived for me in the mail. None of these are sponsored stuff, by the way. This is all that I purchased, that I use, and if it doesn't work out for me, I do end up returning them because it's stuff that I pay with my own money and I want to use for me. This isn't about buying a product and reviewing it to you. Early on in my channel, some people accused me of that, and then they realized that no, he's not doing that. He actually kept these things. Well, yeah, no one's sending me review devices. I've turned sponsors away. I've turned companies away that just wanted me to do a promotion for them, thinking that you can dangle these money or contracts and do this. And like, no, I've only had one negotiation with one company that was tailor-made for cases for real estate professionals that we almost signed on the bottom line. And in the end, I didn't hear back from them. They're the ones that were pushing me to try to do this. Well, not pushing, but they were very generous with their time too. But as we came to sign a dotted line, it was like, hey, just make sure we understand one another. I'm not giving you an automatic positive review. I will review you without your editorial input. And they said they agreed. And then I didn't hear back from them again. So that's how it went. But anyway, this is a Pro Grip. I forget the name of the company. I think it's called Shiftcam. Maybe some of you might have heard of this. They have some that are what they call MagSafe grips. I was actually inspired to get this because I almost ended up getting the Nokia Lumia 1020 because I used to have it for my workforce. My goodness, I know that's a name you've heard in a while, right? This is a Windows 7, Windows Phone 7, 7.5, whatever it was. I know eventually it got a Windows 8. I forget. Microsoft just really screwed up with that, man. Man, that was a good device. I mean, we were running on Verizon, so we really couldn't use that one because of AT&T exclusive. But I was able to unlock one for T-Mobile, and I had some employees that were on T-Mobile, so I'm like, we're going to use this and try it out. So for inspections, for those who don't know what I do, stay tuned for the channel update video, and then I'll explain everything that I do. But this is what inspired me. Well, that inspired me to look for this. I'm like, there's got to be some kind of camera grip. Someone had to make one. And technically, yes, this Shiftcam has a different product, and I'll leave the overlay somewhere here, where it works. It's like a $130 bundle. You get the stick, which is MagSafe, that connects to the back of it's an iPhone. So it was like a little grip that connects here, and then you can also, because of MagSafe, also have like a selfie stick on it or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool, but I didn't need all that because I have some of those tools. What I needed was a grip to be able to grip the device, and a proper one because of the inspections that I do for my work. And I found this one on the Pro section. I'm like, well, that's a little pricier, but this doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to have an embedded battery here, and it wirelessly charges your device. And I say your device, I'm not specifically saying iPhone, because there is no clip here or port. So it's not like a Lightning port exclusive, or it's not like a USB Type-C exclusive on the Samsungs and Android types. So what it does is you put your device in here, and you know what? I'll just might as well show you, since we're doing this here. And I'm getting messages on Instagram. I did say I did a live, right? Both on locals and Instagram. Instagram was first. All right, so I'm going to put this into this. Like so. This thing's kind of like, you're familiar with just, setting this on a clamp. There it is. So it's not showing me that it's charging or anything, because you can actually turn the battery on or off. By the way, I haven't read the instructions, as Tim the Toolman Taylor said in Home Improvement. That's just the owner's opinion on how these things are done. I will read them. It has a dedicated shutter button here in the front. It has this grip, which you can take off, which I was actually surprised when I saw it. I'm like, this wasn't in the picture that I saw, but apparently it comes pre-installed. You can take it off, and I don't have it on me. I think the box is somewhere across the room. But it comes with a case for this stuff to be able to carry it in. Anyway, it has a good grip here, so your hand just rests nicely. It comes like an angle. You see that? So it's angled away from the device, so it just feels like a very natural hold. And it is Bluetooth operated, so when using, I'm locking my device here. I don't use Face ID on this guy, so I missed the fingerprint reader. So that's what we're viewing. I click the shutter, and it should wake up the device because it's asleep. So now I'm going to click again, and it's not doing it. Okay, so there is an on button here. It's not just for that. Let me hit the on button. That was sitting right behind this thing. I just fully charged this guy too, so there's a meter here. I'm just waiting for this guy to turn fully on. Guess I gotta hold it. I'm an idiot. I hit the wrong button. Yeah. Okay, so I am hitting the right button now. It's the on-off button, but now it's not responding. What's going on here? There were some reviews about this device. As cool as it is, it was saying that it's a great quality product. It'll just be great if it works. Like it was an inconsistent thing. I did try it before I put it to charge, because I had to pair it, and it was working. So I'm gonna try to turn this thing on. If I have to do a jump cut, I will. I just don't understand. Oh, look, the lights are on now. That's weird. I was pushing the button and it wouldn't turn on when I had the phone on it. So maybe I had to take the phone off first. This phone's smaller, so I'm gonna just slide it in. Okay, there. Now it's a good. You hear the click? There's a good click in there. Lights are on, and if I push the shutter button, it won't deploy the camera. Now let's test again. Lights are shining. There's a picture taking it. See? All right, cool. All right. So I'm going to find out what these lights mean. So there's blue, green, and red. Let me turn this off. So there's blue, green, and red on this. And then I'm assuming this is the battery level. But the blue, green, and red, I'm not entirely sure what those are. I'm assuming the blues are Bluetooth. The green is that's ready. And maybe red that it's on. That's my assumption. So when I read about it, I'll find out. One of the other things about this that they advertise is that without this handle there, when you sit it down, suddenly it's a wireless charger for your phone. So cool. Anywho, one thing that I didn't notice the first time was when I was sliding my phone, because this time I slid it instead of just clamping it. It clicks when you go all the way in. So maybe that's probably why the device didn't turn on, because as soon as it clicked, then the lights started dancing like it was Christmas. So I'm gonna give it some more time to check out. The meter up here is showing me that it is charging, and that's good because it was just red, and like 2 seconds ago it just turned green. So that means the device is charging as I'm about ready to use it. So I'm just gonna leave it here to the side for now. So that's cool. I'm gonna give my iPhone some juice. Speaking of iPhone, this is not, here's something I could show you. I did get my wife the iPhone 15 Pro in natural titanium. And I have this natural titanium here, and you probably noticed that I was using an iPhone. I am not an iPhone user by choice. My device of choice is an Android, specifically Samsung. Samsung is the only manufacturer out there outside of BlackBerry, outside of Microsoft, when they actually were doing stuff that were tailoring to the business professional. Unfortunately, BlackBerry went on the wayside, and their Knox kernel security hardening is something that I've come to trust, because there's no more BlackBerry privilege and privacy as they marketed themselves. But on top of that, there was also Microsoft, because of how seamless it was with Windows phones to be able to access what at the time was called SkyDrive, which they relabeled OneDrive after they were sued, and how it was built into the devices where you can access your office documents, your online photos and documents and all that, all into one place. Well, Samsung and then other phones and devices do this too, but it wasn't into the integration that Samsung did, because they had a partnership with Microsoft, where that idea of being able to have OneDrive on your computer and you use it as if it's a local drive, even though it's cloud storage, same thing on a device like this. There's others that do it, but the more consistent experience and the better integration that I found has been on a Samsung. It's something that I did miss on BlackBerry, because BlackBerry, when you had the files application, you were able to manipulate as if it was local storage, Box, Dropbox, OneDrive. I think there was one more, not one that I used, but I know at least those three. And you could interact with them as if they were locally stored on your device, which is so awesome. In this case, it's my Samsung, because you can do that with Google Drive, but you can also do that with OneDrive, where you can manipulate it as if it was local storage on your device. I know there's some other apps. I used to use ES File Explorer or eStrong File Explorer. That was back in the day, and there was one that was specifically for OneDrive, but then the API settings changed and whatever. But anyway, so this is my primary device, and I'll explain to you more in the channel update as to what I do and why I use two devices, but primarily is for the operations that I use. I need two devices, and that's why I rely on Google Voice as my main number, because of how often I change devices, and because of my dependency on a trustworthy wearable, and my current choice there is the Apple Watch. I hate the phones, but the Apple Watch is definitely one that I go to. Okay, the tech device, you've probably seen this before. It's the Pixel Fold. I've done an unboxing video on this one. I haven't done a review on it. I might be snipping this tech stream into little pieces, because you have to know some of these things. If you don't like long streams, I'm going to be piecing this apart, because you have to know about some of these updates. When it comes to Google, I really liked these cases that they came up for the Pixel series. I think they started introducing like on a Pixel 6, at least the Pixel 7, like this soft touch plastic. It's almost like a silicone feel, and on the inside it's exude microfiber to protect the device. That's pretty cool. But I missed the fabric cases of old. I had it on my Pixel 2 and my Pixel 4. This Pixel Fold, though, I like the form factor. It's really good. I did an unboxing and I give you my first impressions of it. I'll tell you why I used the Surface Duo, and moving to this was just about as easy. But I do prefer the Surface Duo in terms of thinness, but in terms of usability, because it has a front screen, this was the way to go. But privacy-wise, I prefer the Surface Duo. But I do want to show you the experiences because they are very, very different, even though they're the same form factor and very similar in that there's a width here. I want to turn this on, though. There's a warning on it because I did something to this thing. If you have a normal Pixel Fold, it will not give you this warning sign when you're booting up. This thing is giving that sign because it says Google, powered by Android. Just waiting for it. And that's moving from boot screen to the next. Welcome to CalyxOS. So I installed CalyxOS. Interesting story. I wasn't going to do it because there's some specific Google features that I actually use, such as live transcribe and the translation app during conversations, not just conversations, but reading messages. Sometimes what I do is if someone's messaging me on the iPhone, I take my Samsung and I just shine the camera over it so I can read the text as to what it's saying. It's like, oh, okay, now I know what you're saying, and I can respond by copy and pasting because I do have an international audience and also international clients. So it helps to be able to use those tools. And I've actually used it when I was overseas in Taiwan, and I used it before Google Lens became a thing. So it's a tool that I actually really rely upon, and it's built into the Pixel devices since Pixel 6 or 7. So that's very important and key to me to be able to utilize. There's some other little Pixel tricks, including the camera, that I really come to depend on. That like Magic Eraser, it works better on the Pixel than Samsung's eraser function on their gallery app. At least that's how I've come to see it. I did an eraser. I was trying to erase something like on a flower, on a flower bed, and I picked an item on Samsung, and what it ended up doing was also deleting something else I didn't highlight, but because it kind of looked like it got rid of it, but I didn't notice it did like a smudge on it until my wife saw it. It's like, why'd you delete that thing? It's like, oh, I didn't mean to. So I'm sure with software updates, the Samsung one will get better. But when I've used Magic Eraser on this thing, it's pretty spooky how good it is. So I just got a notification of a shipment coming in. Something for my Samsung. Cool. So yeah, I'm going to be trying out CalyxOS on this, not because I wanted to do it just now, but because I had to wipe my phone. I never seen this on any device before. So this is what I mean. I'm going to be clipping out. So I just spliced this. I wanted you to hear this from a very long live stream or stream recording. My Pixel got the blue screen of death, similar to a computer, but it gave me a corruption, software corruption. I didn't do anything. There was no software update at all. Everything was just fine and dandy. All I did, I had my phone off for about a day. Then I turned it back on. I set it on my desk, and it booted up just fine. Everything was running normally. I checked my Google Play Store to make sure my apps were up to date, and those that weren't got up to date. My notifications were coming through just fine, but I wasn't doing anything on the phone yet. I was just like, let it actualize, and I'm working away on my computer. Eventually, I reached for it because I wanted to do some simultaneous YouTubing. So what I do is I use YouTube Studio with my channel, and I was going to pull up some stuff on it. And as soon as I reached for it, it gave me this saying that some error corruption thing. I didn't think much of it. I'm like, I'll just reboot the phone, and I rebooted the phone, and it was stuck on a boot loop. I'm like, well, that's odd. And it went on for a while. I was trying to restart it, and then eventually it wasn't really responding anymore. So okay, I think I'm gonna have to somehow get into the recovery mode, and do a factory reset on this thing, which is exactly what I ended up doing. And even though my Google account still said that device appears on my system as an active user device, like we're talking about not just the phone off, it's not responding to anything. So today I was gonna set it up again because it was like, welcome to your new Pixel, whatever. I was like, oh, gotta do this again. Then it hit me. Should I just install CalyxOS? I mean, Android, the Pixel devices are running on Android 14. The CalyxOS is still running on Android 13. They do have Android 14 in beta. I'm kind of tempted to try to test that. I'm like, well, why not? But I did find that concerning that there was that software glitch, because I must ask, have you experienced that before? I do have insurance on this device. I don't use it as much. I should, but I'm glad I didn't, because if I came to depend on this and that happened, I would have thrown this phone against the wall and then maybe thrown it against concrete, because I cannot have that happen on my business device. That was a concern to me, because if I can't rely on this device, then I'm going to be questioning why the heck am I even using it. That's never happened on a device to me before. If I was tinkering with it, I'd understand that there were some risks there, because I messed with the bootloader, I messed with the recovery, I probably switched it with twerp or whatever. I did nothing to this phone. Until now, I'm like, screw that. I'm going to use CalyxOS then. I'm going to give that a shot. The reason I use CalyxOS, well, I haven't set it up yet, but I'm going to, because I want to see how the camera will work without, all the AI stuff that the Google camera does. But now there are ports of the Google camera. There's a Gcam project. I do have one of those that I'm going to try out to see if it'll work well with this. And you want to know what that's like, I'll let you know my thoughts then. But I do need Google, unfortunately. I just can't have a sandbox device. So if I come to depend on this device eventually, I'm going to have to just revert this back to stock Android and use it with Google services. I'm not excited about that, but that's unfortunately the world I found myself in. Anyway, that's the long and short of that. Welcome to CalyxOS, and I'll be checking that out. For now, I'll turn this guy off. Game shutting down. The crease doesn't bother me as much. Take some water. I've been doing back-to-back recordings here, so let me just give you a rundown of all the tech that I don't have on me that I do have, and I'm excited to share some of that with you. I did get the Samsung Galaxy Book 2 360 Pro 5G. What the hell kind of name is that? And I must say, I'm super impressed. I had to replace, I have a station in my office that I had set up with Surface Pro 5. That one has 5G also, but that thing was on its last legs. And the reason I say I have a station set up that way is because I have a Kensington mountain swivel that behaves a lot like that Surface Studio, but it's meant for the Surface Pro. And I happen to have a Surface Pro 7 Plus with me, and it's like, well, I'm okay letting this one go because I have to buy a computer anyway. So I'm like, I'm okay putting this one in that station because everything's primed for it, and it's running Windows 11, which is even better because it'll communicate with my contractor's Surface Laptop 3, which also runs Windows 11. So it'll be a seamless experience for him. I'm like, okay, that'll leave me with a station for a computer for my other station, my satellite station. But I'm like, but I don't want a Surface Pro anymore. So when I saw on Samsung, it didn't even occur to me. I just happened to be shopping for devices for some of my employees, and I just like, it won't hurt to look at the the laptops here or whatever. And I saw this one, okay, it has 5G. It's really on a Snapdragon processor, 8 Gen 1, I think it is, or 8 Gen 2. I don't remember. And it's technically the older model because it's saying Surface, the Galaxy Book 2, even though it just came out in August. I'm like, I didn't hear about this thing. What the heck is this thing? And the more I read up on it, I'm like, you know what? This might actually be something that I need that can work out with me. I use a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra as my main business device. I have Samsung wearables. I have Samsung tablets. In fact, that's what I'm primarily using. I'm using the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 with the AMOLED display. Gorgeous device, by the way. I don't even think I mentioned it to any of you. So that's the other device. So I'm like, I use the S Pen on everything. And as soon as I ended up getting it, I set it up. It was love at first use. The copy paste, the ability to use one Surface Pen across all the devices. And like, this was the missing piece. And even better still is that thing has 5G. So now I don't have to use this tablet with Dex mode when I use the keyboard and having the hotspot off this guy. I don't have to do that. And the reason I didn't get this tablet with 5G is because you have to get a specific carrier tablet, and I hate that. Apparently, there is no universal unlocked tablet where you can carry it from one carrier to another. It had to be, you can either get the Verizon model, the AT&T model, the T-Mobile model, and that opens up a can of worms when it comes to updates. So I'm like, you know what, I'll just stick with the Wi-Fi model and just let Samsung update it when they update it. So that's why I didn't go for the 5G, because it would have been the Tab S9 Plus 5G, and then take your pick, and it would have been the Cutter that I didn't want either, because I wanted to keep it more of a uniform experience. But anyway, the Galaxy Book is so far proven itself to be that missing piece. I remember having the Galaxy Book, the Chromebook, the Fiesta Red. Oh, that was a gorgeous device. I don't remember what I did with it. I have sold it. But what I didn't like about it, it was a highly overpriced, very overpriced Chromebook. It was beautiful, don't get me wrong. But I had the Google Pixel Chromebook, the Pixel Book, and I still do. In fact, I just finished power washing it because there was it wouldn't properly update the beta software that I'm using for Chrome OS. That's the only way to keep it, with the latest updates. It's still going, and it still looks really good. And I used the Pixel Pen on that, so it's like, that's really cool. And it's funny that now that I think about it, I have 3 ecosystems in my home. Three ecosystems that I tend to use because the wife, all of her side's Apple. And because of an Apple, I have an iPhone, I do have a MacBook Pro. And very early on, I had an iPad Pro, which I then upgraded to. It was the iPad Pro 9.7 inch, which I ended up upgrading to the iPad Pro first gen when they redesigned the whole thing. And that thing's still going, and it's like new. It's just, it's amazing. I respect Apple for what they do with their things. I just hate that I can't do with it what I want to do, like I can do with Android. But anyway, so I did build basically an Apple ecosystem. I have the Apple Surface, the Apple Studio display with my MacBook Pro, and my Surface cans. Surface cans. That's what I call my Surface headphones that I bought a long time ago. The AirPod Max, whatever the hell they're called. I use that for editing and all that stuff. Then I had the Samsung experience. Well, not, of course, the wearable, but wearables, the phone, the tablets, and now the computer with Samsung. But even Google to an extent. I have the Google Pixel Buds with the Google Pixel Fold here. And I had the Pixel Book before that, not to mention that I do have some Google Home devices, and it just feels like a whole uniform experience. And those really are the 3 ecosystems that I depend on for both work and, to some extent, home. And those experiences, I try to keep them, streamlined, to say the least. Very interesting when I think about it. It's really those 3 where it comes down to, and it's the most robust ecosystem experiences available out there. The 2 for Android, and then the 1 for Apple. Apple's, it's their walled garden to do their thing, When it comes to Android, though, with Google and Samsung, what they're doing, Google is more simplicity, consumer focused, and to some extent security. But in the case of Samsung, it's more the business professional. They do stuff for the consumer crowd, the fun stuff, the flip devices, the colorful earbuds, some of the wearables, and the customizations you can do with them. So it does tailor to that that demographic and category. But when it comes to professionals, there's a reason these devices exist with the S Pen and stuff. I cannot be without it, and so I don't. Everything I need and have has to have a stylus. That's why the iPhone is a burden for me. But the reason I put up with it is because the Apple Watch. I just finished reposting my short sale nightmare transaction, which is real estate. So if you don't tune into my podcast or miss those episodes, I recommend you check those out, and you'll understand. It's called the transaction that almost killed me. That's the other name for it instead of just the short sale nightmare. I just thought, well, some people might not believe it when I say the transaction that almost killed me. But with all the stress that I was handling, there was like 2013, I think, so it's about a decade ago, where I almost drove off a cliff just because I was using a BlackBerry at the time. So that BlackBerry light was like blinking at me. Wearables weren't really a thing yet, and the pebbles were a thing, and I almost drove off a cliff accidentally because a spam email came through. Said that wasn't worth the risk. Like, I need a wearable. I cannot deal with this stress. And the Pebble started it off for me. And when Pebble, it's gone, I looked into Android. Samsung was one of the first ones to come up, and I still have some of my old Samsungs. But this is what really streamlined everything, especially when I got into health. But I still depend on Samsung, track my sleep, track some of my fitness stuff. So it's not just like I abandon those things. Nope, they're still charged, and I'm going to be putting my Samsung Active Watch 2 on to go to sleep, to monitor my sleep and all that, and pair it up to my Samsung Health, which is my diary. But yeah, anyway, that's all to say that I use all that stuff there. I use iPhone as a communicator because in real estate, it really is biased towards Apple. A lot of the services and applications are Apple specific. That's why I got an iPad first. That was the first way I got into the Apple ecosystem. After that, I was like, oh my goodness, I need more of this crap. It became annoying. There's something that realtors have. If you're ever in the market, or you know this yourself, there's like a blue lockbox that hangs on the door. If it's called a super key. It's a super box, and you need a super E key in order to access that thing. Back in the BlackBerry days, you were able to use the BlackBerry with the key fob, and Android with that key fob, and iPhone with that key fob. But then because the developers were able to develop just for one app, they're like, oh, we'll just develop for Apple. And eventually, of course, Android. But guess which is the one they update the most, which is the one that works the best with the less bugs? Apple. So they ended up getting rid of the key fobs. Then the only way is like, oh, you use the app. Like, yeah, but the one on Android sucks. It doesn't always work. The Bluetooth has like all these issues. So you can't communicate with the key box. Oh, but the iPhone works fine. Show up to the property, you're going to show it to the client, or you're going to inspect it for whatever. The way to get in, you needed an iPhone. It's better now than it was when I started, but it's just to let you know, there was a bias only for Apple. So that sucked. And that's why I have this, because as soon as you have one leg in, they sink their hooks in you and won't let go. I can let go easy of this stuff, except this guy. I'm not going to lie to you. The wearable experience of an Apple Watch, it's painless. Everything's there where I need. All the services that I use are there too, which Samsung had with their Tizen OS. Wear OS finally got some of those too when it comes to My Fitness with Under Armour and all that. But Under Armour had an exclusive thing with HTC first, with their health box and all that, and eventually with Samsung, Under Armour specific watches and all that, or themed watches with their Tizen OS. And yeah, that's how I kind of grew up into that. And because this thing was also able to use the Under Armour app suite, great. It wasn't until just recently that the Under Armour fitness apps made their way to Wear OS. Finally, you were able to get like My Fitness Pal, but that wasn't the thing that I needed. The thing that I needed was like Map My Fitness, Map My Run, Map My Walk, and Map My Hike. Those are now on Wear OS as of earlier this year. So, well, there you go. Anyway, I feel like I'm ranting. I'm monologuing here, even though I'm not. I'm exhausted, even though I just finished a cup before coming on to this of Orange County Coffee Company's Peru blend. This is a medium coffee. I do feel it's more like a medium light. This is the organic one. It comes in a smaller bag. Oh my goodness, that smells amazing. But yeah, I finished that, but I was drinking water here, and now I'm really sleepy. I drink coffee before going to sleep too, so that helps. Anyway, that's it for the stream. If you joined me this long, thank you so very much. I intend to clip out some of these sections just to upload them on their own, so you don't miss out on some of the important things I want to get out to you, especially about that whole pixel thing. So the social media might see it first. So follow me across the socials at the Andre Segovia, Twitter, X, because of 15 characters. It's _ Andre Segovia. And I'm officially back on Facebook. But at a professional level, not at a personal level. So I think I don't, this might be the first time I announce it, actually. So you might be among the early ones. I might do a giveaway to get people to start going over there if you're on Facebook, so they can start sharing it to other people too. I haven't thought about it. I might do it. I'll see. But anyway, all the links are available in the description down below. You've seen this on Rumble, YouTube, in that order, and hopefully also on Facebook eventually. One more thing I didn't mention in the original recording about some of the tech that I've been using. I bet you didn't know I've been using AI for some of my stuff. I have some of my software programs for my post-production for video editing that sometimes there's artifacts in my video. I'm like, what the heck? So I want to replace my background. So I've been using AI to help me do that with Wondershare. Awesome. That's what I use Wondershare for more. I think I'm using version 12 right now for my video content creation. But what's most important to me is audio. And sometimes I've had some audio that's just been garbled or bad, or just the mic was a little grainy. And I was beta testing before. Now it's more widely available at Adobe Podcast Tool. So it's an AI created, it's just a tool that just goes in there and cleans up your audio, and it makes it sound like you're in, you're in a studio. So to give you an example, this is what it sounds like running through AI, but this is how it's supposed to sound like without the podcast tool. That's what I'm talking about. That tool just changed everything for me. I was like, dude, I'm going to go back to my older episodes and just repurpose that audio, run it through the system, and it's given new life and breath to some of my old conversations that were a little hard to hear because like I didn't have the mics and stuff. And now it's like, thank you so much, Adobe. Now it's become I was part of the beta team, but it's still a service that you have to pay for. You can utilize it even more. If and when the time comes, I will. But for now, the package that I'm on is suffice. But that's one of the big ones that I have used. I might have talked about it before, just not in much in depth, and I depend on that way more than maybe any other service out there besides automation to try to get my stuff out. But that's an awesome tool. I just wanted to throw that in because I forgot I mentioned it in the original reel. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so very much. Late night is coming to a close. I wish you well. Have a safe new week, and I'll see you on the next one.